Hello and welcome to what you could call basically an update video, I suppose. Now, as I'm sure you've seen in your sub boxes, I'm sure you've seen quite a number of videos appear regarding information released by EA, and in detail, this is about the Ultimate Team in FIFA 14 and different aspects that might have stayed the same, or slightly changed, or maybe even got rid of or completely changed. So as you can see now on your screen, there'll be pictures of the FIFA 14 Ultimate Team new screens that have been released. So this is, official pictures, what it really will look like on your screens when you get FIFA 14, or if you do decide to get FIFA 14, as I'm sure you probably will. So the first point I'd quickly like to make before I go into in-depth about all the different changes that have been made, I'll include them probably all in this one video. But as I say, the main point I'd quickly like to make is that these ratings are not set. So EA have, clearly stated that these ratings you'll see for players, I believe there are a number of players in there, such as, I believe, Micah Richards on a 79 as a right back, and Vermaelen as an 82 centre back, I believe. There are a number of other ones, as I'm sure you can see on your screen now. They are not set, so those aren't. Don't expect to see those exact ones. They might possibly be the ratings, but they're not definitely the ratings. So don't read too much into that. So beginning with Ultimate Team itself, there are, as I say, a number of changes. I'm just gonna run through all of them just quickly, and just what kind of, whether that'll be a good thing or a bad thing. So to begin with, we've got brand new in-game web app and mobile user interface for Ultimate Team. So I myself don't actually use the web app. I know it is used by quite a lot of people, but quite a number of people, but I myself do not use that, so I won't really notice any kind of change. I've never used that before in my life. But next point here is the auction house is now called the transfer market. So in FIFA 14, so obviously that is just a tiny little change, as opposed to the auction house. It will now be known as the transfer market. I guess it gives that kind of more realistic feel, as opposed to the auction house, calling it the transfer market as we kind of know in real life. Next point here, brand new player cards are now in a crest style. So as you can see on your screen now, in the formations, which I'll come to in a second, you can see that these crests, they're no longer just the cards you might find, which I always thought was a nice idea. I mean, when you used to collect cards, perhaps when you were younger, maybe, or like in sticker albums, they always used to be in that like rectangular form, but that will obviously be got rid of now, and it has entered the crest style. So at the moment, I'm not too keen on that, probably just because I need a bit of time to get used to that. But moving on to the next point. So the new style applies to inform cards too. So whatever the card, that will be the style, this crest shape you can see on your screen. So next one then, the formation and morale cards have been removed from the game. So I'm quite pleased about this. I mean, it was a bit of a hassle. Say you had a player and you needed to buy him a formation, and then you thought, no, I don't particularly like this formation. Next game we'll change it, and then the next game perhaps you'll revert back to that same formation from before. You'd have to probably buy a formation card, otherwise your chemistry will go all over the place and whatnot. And morale cards, I never really used. I mean, what difference it really made, I'm not too sure. But that's something that has now been removed, or will be, should I say, removed from FIFA 14. So then the next point here, we've got you can now change formations whenever, without having to sink coins into formation cards to achieve full chemistry. As I say, you can change the formation, whatever, that kind of, as I say, formation being removed from the game. Next point then, online single matches are back. So this is something taken out of FIFA 13 Ultimate Team. Online single matches, as I say, single matches. I'm not quite sure why, to be honest. I mean, they were clearly something that most people would at least do. Why it was taken out, I'm not too sure about. I'm sure there is a reason behind that. Perhaps you know it. Leave it in the comments if you do. You'll certainly be informing me, because I don't know quite why it was taken out. But next point then, and is you can now search for similar players in the transfer market directly from the squad management screen. So this is obviously something that will probably be a useful feature. I mean, there's a number of times perhaps you're searching for a particular player, but you'll have to go through, get the exact, kind of, whether it be, have to find the exact, teams, maybe formations, whether you're searching for the exact, position as well. That's another thing you've got to consider in FIFA 13 Ultimate Team when searching for a player, and also price. but there'll probably be just a button, maybe whatever it will be. You just press and it will appear with similar type players which you maybe want to take a look at. So hopefully that will have like higher rated players compared to them, and lower rated as well as similar players, just because you can see what kind of bracket you're in terms of ability of players. So the next point then, you can now search for players by name. So that is very useful for me. Whether it'll be really sensitive, I am a bit worried about that. There is a brand new pack opening animation. So when you obviously go to a pack, whether it be gold, bronze, silver, you'll open the pack, and obviously there'll be a new animation, as I say, and then there'll be Team of the Season and Team of the Week promotions will continue in FIFA 14. So those type of squads, they'll still be an occurrence. They'll still be something you'll see in FIFA 14 Ultimate Team. So the next stage is customization. So within FIFA 14 Ultimate Team, this kind of new section here is in the customization section. So you're allowed to add team captains. So you're allowed to choose your team captain. You're allowed to do set piece takers as well, and also choose the player kit number. So I always wondered why, to be honest, that wasn't in. I mean, we see it in manager mode, we see it in other things too, but we didn't have that in Ultimate Team, but that will be something that we'll be seeing. Next one then, this is in Ultimate Season section. So there are now 10 seasons long. So obviously in FIFA 13 seasons, you see the divisions. Sorry, there are only 5 of them. Quite why, I'm not sure, because obviously, in FIFA 13 seasons there are 10, but in FIFA 13 Ultimate Team there are only 5. So quite why that was done, I'm not too sure. But they'll both be 10 next edition in FIFA 14. Then moving on to the chemistry. So this is by far and away probably the most difficult part of the whole thing, of the whole deal, just to kind of get your head round, because it has changed quite dramatically from the FIFA 13 Ultimate Team. So I'm just going to read through it all in quite an easy way to understand, just to make sure you're aware. Perhaps you've seen other people's videos, but you're not too sure still of this whole chemistry idea. What does it really mean? So this is the reasoning then. This is what it will be. So it says that you'll be able to change the individual chemistry style of a player to fit the way you want to play. So obviously it will change and depending on what kind of way and what kind of style you want to play. And then there are around 20 to 25 styles being worked on, with names such as Sniper and Anchor to describe the attribute it enhances. So obviously, you'll have some things you can choose to assign to a player, such as Sniper or Anchor, which will, kind of affect or maybe Powerhouse, just to kind of affect the player in a way that they will be able to, carry out their role within the team. So then I'll come on to how that will affect in an actual match in a second. So as I say, 2 key attributes are enhanced with each chemistry style. For instance, select Finisher for a player and they'll experience boost to their shooting and heading ability, as you'd expect. And each player will come with a default chemistry style. So if you were to open a pack, for example, they'd come with default chemistry style. But you'll be able to customize them. Obviously, if you go to the Ultimate Team consumables, such as consumables. Obviously, if you don't know what those are, then they are obviously contracts is an example of a consumable. But now consumables will also include these kind of attribute enhancers slash effectors, to chemistry style. So moving on to how this will actually affect in a match. So to give an example, this is an example given by, I believe, Foothead. I'm not too sure about that. I believe that is the case. So I will be obviously like to make sure credit them with this explanation of how it works in game. So it says that how it works in game. So for example, if you were playing with attacking fullbacks such as Patrice Evra, for example, but your starting lineup doesn't support that formation. So say you're just playing the flat back 4-4-2. But you want to have an attacking fullback, just to say in this instance it's Evra. So normally, if you were to use this tactic, it would lower your team's chemistry, obviously, because you've got a player out of position. But this year it's different. So this chemistry would allow you to alter your tactics without sacrificing the team's collective unity. So, for example, you could put this guy into the left back slot, even if he was supposed to be a left wing back, and what you would then say is the player ahead of him. So obviously, if we're doing Evra Manchester United, we'd then take Valencia as this example, or perhaps for France, you'd say Ribéry, and you'd apply a powerhouse to him. So what would that do is that would increase his defending. So it basically make up for what you've done, kind of thing. So say you're playing a central defensive midfield player in centre mid, you'd have another player, perhaps another central mid. You'd put that something onto them to then perhaps increase their how far they move attacking wise, because obviously you've got a central defensive midfielder and central midfield. Perhaps you'd want your other central midfielder to push up, and a way of doing that, or a way of making sure they would, is putting on one of these attribute enhancers. So basically, that is the rundown of the changes to be in FIFA 14 Ultimate Team. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you now can kind of understand. I know I've seen other people's videos doing this, so I'm quite late to this. I mean, late in the day, I guess it's only hours behind as opposed to days or whatever. But there are some people who have put up these videos, but I just can't make sense of it. But I hope I've allowed you to perhaps understand, if you weren't too sure otherwise, what this kind of means and what this will kind of do to the matches and do to Ultimate Team. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this episode. This episode. If you have, please do be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you on my other series.